Well, let's quickly move on to Kaduna State, where the peaceful protest turned violent as protesters looted and burnt parts of the office of the Kaduna State Traffic Agency. The protesters also blocked major roads leading to the state government house. Operatives of the Kaduna State Police Command dispersed the protesters using tear gas. For now, no curfew has been imposed in the state. Let's now cross live to Kaduna and speak to Governor Sani for more on this. Governor Sani, good to see you and thanks for your time. You've been speaking to the people of your state even before this day. Let us in on your assessment of the protests so far in Kaduna.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. The situation is calm in Kaduna. I can say that there was no much problem here in Kaduna because the protest started extremely very peaceful, but somewhere along the line, some people actually hijacked the protest at certain point, which was actually extremely unfortunate. But of course, I can say that here in Kaduna, I must give a lot of credit to the police because I made it clear to them that as a product of pro-democracy and civil rights movement myself, I believe that there's nothing wrong in anyone conducting himself peacefully to do any protest. So at that point, the police were escorting the protesters, but somewhere along the line, I think, like I was always warning, I warned some few days ago that Kaduna is a very fragile state. We have been having issues with different groups. So somewhere along the line, some very disgruntled miscreants hijacked the protest, and as a result of that, even one of the police officers was shot. And eventually, the police were able to recover some live ammunition from the protesters. It was really unfortunate because but later, after a lot of investigation, because I followed it up to see that, to ensure that nothing happened after that. And the report I was receiving, even at this moment, because we had a security meeting a few hours ago, is that most of these miscreants that eventually hijacked the protest use children that are between the ages of 15, 16, and 17. And of course, the numbers are not even more than 150 put together. But if you look at the numbers from what we see, most of them, about 70% of them, that is over 100 of them, are just children between the ages of 15, 16. So for me, it's really unfortunate because after much investigation, we realized that most of these children were actually used by some elements within the society. And unfortunately, what really made some of us really, really sad is because these elements will have come out themselves. Like I said, I'm a product of a pro-democracy movement. I led demonstrations against the military in Nigeria. But to put the children of the poor on their age to the street and the sponsors will hide, for me, it's really unfortunate, it's ungodly, and it's condemnable. But we thank God. The police were able to handle the situation effectively, and everything was addressed. And before 4 p.m., most of these children went back home. So that was what happened in Kaduna.
Mr. Governor, don't you think that in itself, the fact that minors were used in a really terrible way in this protest, it shows, that they were not gainfully occupied, maybe in school or provided for in a way that they would not buy into any kind of calls to be, take part in protests. And you did have town halls where you warned and you also pleaded with Kaduna residents not to go ahead with the protest. But it looks like hunger is a stronger force that push them out there into the streets. Now that this has happened today, violence in Kaduna, what would be your messaging to the people of Kaduna State going forward? And what moves will you put in place to ensure that their lives are bettered, other than, tokens or palliatives?
No, I want to, my point is that today's protest, like I said, wasn't the normal protest I expected. I told you I led protests in Nigeria many times. The children that came out, I can tell you today without any fear of contradiction, they don't even demand for anything other than just trying to break offices and of course try to also attack the police. So that's what they do. So my point is that the real people should have come out. These children you're talking about agreed. I said it even last week at the town hall meeting here in Kaduna, that whether we like it or not, the problem facing northern Nigeria is something that I personally accepted the fact that we, the leaders of northern Nigeria, particularly those in a position, not now, but in the last 15 years, thereabout. If you look at the developmental indices, I made it clear to everyone last week that as far back as 2016, in the northwest part of Nigeria, there was nothing called kidnappings, banditry at all. It happens, or it started only around 2017. So if you are talking about poverty in northern Nigeria, I can tell you, without any fear of contradiction, that if you look at the developmental indices right now, as we're speaking, I was in the Senate, I was the chairman Senate Committee on Banking, overseeing 90% of the financial services sector of this country, and I know the facts, and I know the data. We find ourselves in this problem because of the lack of seriousness of the leaders, including myself. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not part of the leadership. Everybody in northern Nigeria, that was either a chairman of a local government, a member of the state assembly, a House of Reps member, a senator, a governor, a minister, a president, vice president from northern Nigeria, including the business community in northern Nigeria. We should have looked at ourselves in the mirror and asked ourselves, why is it that, as we're speaking, over 70% of the adolescents in northern Nigeria are completely financially excluded? Why is it that the poverty index here in northern Nigeria, about 65% of our people are living below the poverty line? Why is it that out of the 18.3 million of out-of-school children in Nigeria, 70% are domiciled in the north? And that is the reason why, if you look at the protests of today, most of the states that participated are from the northern Nigeria. It's not because the north are against Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu or against the government, but those perpetrators, I mean those that hide and sponsor these gullible children that have gone out to attack government offices, looted some shops in some states, although that didn't happen in Kaduna, but it happens in other states of northern Nigeria. So I'm just talking about the north generally. What really happened? It is not the problem that was caused,
Governor Sani,
or is caused by the current government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
If you allow me,
this problem...
Governor Sani, apologies. Just let me butt in here to bring you back just a little bit. Okay, great. That's not the first time you've spoken about the sponsors sitting in the comfort of their homes while the children are out there. It would mean that there is something that you know about some sponsors somewhere of this. That is on the one hand. And two, as a leader and a party man and one of those who's also close to the president, what's the conversation like among northern governors and the leadership, in this case the president? Because some of those we've spoken to are all saying that the president should at least periodically, if not monthly, speak to the people, because the situation in Nigeria is quite different from what we have experienced in times past. Your thoughts on that?
My position is very clear. This problem is not, I'm just focusing on northern Nigeria, but it's not about the north, it's about Nigeria generally. But I'm just focusing about our region here. This problem, I can tell you, yes, Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu have met stakeholders, have met religious leaders, traditional leaders, political leaders from different parts of the country. What else can he do more than that? Look, I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to be very realistic and say the facts the way they are. This is who I am. That is why I started by saying most of these people that comes out, I don't know other part of Nigeria, but in the north, I can tell you, these are some of the children that ought to have been in school, but are not in school. It's Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that made them not to go to school. This is the problem that I was saying last week, that the leadership here in northern Nigeria, we must sit down and hold series of human capital development summit. This problem, when it started, I was talking about out of school children before this thing happened. 18.3 million in Nigeria, as we're speaking. 70% are domiciled in northern Nigeria. Is it Bola Ahmed Tinubu problem? We need to look at ourselves in the mirror. And the problem we're facing in Nigeria today, whether we like it or not, yes, Asuwaju became the president about a year and 1 month ago. As a leader, I agree with you. He has to look at all this problem and find a solution to the problem. Yes, that is also a fact, like every other state governor is doing. But I agree with you. But my point here is, look, can we stop politicizing this issue? Because when you look at our developmental indices as far back as just 2023, I want to take you back to that. Let's be talking on the point of facts, data, and statistics. That is the only way we can solve the problem. Yes, the government can do better than that. I also believe that these palliatives are not the way to go. I agree with that. I agree with the fact that we must have very strong policies that can affect the lives of the people, which is also very important. How to implement them is also an issue that is very important. Right. But the fact of the matter is, look, here in Kaduna, let me come back to Kaduna. The people that came out, that is why I was telling you, they are children between the age of 15, 16, and 17. People who don't want to use their children, they decided to use them. And that, for me, is unfortunate, like I said, it's ungodly. And when you say whether I have the information, yes, as a governor. That is why we've been able to contain the situation. Because as of yesterday, I had information, which I cannot tell you now. It's for the security. Because some elements within our society who want to now use this to cause problem, particularly in our state, sponsored these people. I have my facts, right. I have the evidence, and I've submitted the evidence to the security for investigation.
Okay.
Because for me, there is a way to settle political scores. You can wait until 2027. Contest election. You can win. But as a politician, because you lost election, because you're not part of the government, you have to now use the children of the poor to put their lives on the line.
Right.
That is what I believe is unacceptable.
Mr. Governor,
but having said that, I believe as a government,
right,
we have challenges. We need to sit down. We need to address them as soon as possible. That is also a fact.
Absolutely. And very quickly, it looks like you're saying that it's opposition that's behind this protest, specifically in Kaduna State. Now, beyond pleading with citizens in Kaduna not to protest, what concrete steps will you be putting in place to ensure that you come up with far-reaching policies that will actually change the lives of citizens in Kaduna State?
No, I can tell you here, since I came, if you are following what we are doing in Kaduna, I had a series of stakeholders meetings. I have a series of town hall meetings where I involved every level of stakeholders, both the youths, the market women, religious leaders, traditional leaders, students, artisans, and everyone is on the table here in Kaduna. That's what I'm telling you. Kaduna, we are all on the same table. I can tell you that. We look at our problems. We believe we have problems that has to do with education, healthcare, and particularly we have problem in the area of trying to support our smallholder farmers, support our SMEs. That is what we've been doing, and we have reached to a lot of people, particularly downtrodden, underserved, and poor people. We signed executive order in Kaduna, if you recall, 4 months ago, to ensure that we bring back about 2.5 million underserved, poor people within Kaduna State back to financial services sector. As we are speaking, all of them are benefiting from government programs, government activities, and we are changing their lives. So we are fine here in Kaduna. And in the last 1 year, we have been able to reduce the deficit in terms of rural infrastructure and urban infrastructure, meaning we have reduced the deficit and we have embarked on rural revitalization, where we can be able to also improve the economic activities of people in the area so that we can improve the economic prosperity of those people. That is what we've been doing in Kaduna, and we've been fine.
Okay.
And what I'm telling you here is that was the reason why as early as 4 o'clock today, nobody was on the street in Kaduna, because Kaduna is calm.
Right.
Those that wanted
Governor
to hijack
Sani,
it, they also realized that they have nobody to use. Eventually, they have to leave. So we're fine in Kaduna.
all right.
We don't have any problem. But
It's
like I said,
interesting. It's
we have
interesting
do
to hear
more.
you.
We have to engage
All right.
more.
It's interesting to hear you say you're fine in Kaduna, because months ago you actually cried out that you had funding issues. You were not able to deliver on some critical areas of the economy to fix, the Kaduna economy because of, the previous administration. Yeah. So how are you handling the issue of funding?
Let me come in there.
Right.
Yes, of course. Let me give you 1 or 2 examples. When I came in, I sat down with when I came out at the town hall meeting, I made it clear that every month, which is a fact, Kaduna State is paying 4.7 billion, which is when you go to debt management office and you look at our monthly fact, you will agree with me that Kaduna State government is paying 4.7 billion monthly as debt that we need to pay, that we inherited, which is okay. But with the support of our commissioners, advisors, and everyone working with me, the first thing we did was cutting cost of governance. As we are speaking, no commissioner in Kaduna have gotten a new car. We have not bought a single vehicle for commissioners. We have not bought a single vehicle for myself as a governor. Deputy governor do not have a single vehicle. All our advisors, nobody have a vehicle. That's number one. When we came in, the commissioners have their salaries and something they call performance bonuses. I called them and said, look, gentlemen, now we're facing problem. Can we take up that so-called performance bonuses, which is about almost ₦1 million per commissioner? We took it away. So every commissioner in Kaduna today is getting something within the region of 400 to 300,000 with all the allowances and everything, as against 1.7 million. They agreed without any problem. So we decided to cut the cost of governance. We save a lot of money. Today, as we are speaking, we have done groundbreaking at least of about 67 roads in our rural local governments, totaling about 713 kilometers. That is what we are doing in Kaduna. Right. Number two, we have built 62 secondary schools in Kaduna. All these things are facts. Anybody can go and change. We built 2,312 primary classrooms in the primary schools in Kaduna. That is something that anybody can verify. So these are things we're doing. We have supported our SMEs with about 4.8 billion. We support our smallholder farmers, numbering about 60,000 of them in 3 geopolitical zones of our 3 senatorial zones of our state.
We need to go.
That is what we're doing to reach to the people.
Absolutely. I think there's something for other states to learn from the Kaduna example in terms of sacrifice, prudence, and what you have just listed. We'd like to thank you for finding time to join us. And we do hope that the peaceful nature in Kaduna as experienced on day 1 of the protest will be sustained. Governor Sani, Governor of Kaduna State, many thanks for being with us here on Newsnight.